Assalamu alaikum everyone, a very warm welcome to Vantage Developers Presents Game on Hai Mehun Erin Holland, and we're bringing you all of the action of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup, of course being contested all the way over in the USA and in the Caribbean. And well, it's been a wonderful World Cup for upsets, that's for sure. All of the action that's been happening in the World Cup has been got to be seen to be believed, I think. And once again, we've seen a wonderful victory by Afghanistan. The underdogs coming into this competition, underdogs no more, because they have well and truly announced themselves as a super force in this edition of the T20 World Cup. They downed PNG in the early hours of the morning and they booked their spot in the Super 8. So much to unpack, so much action to take you all through, as of course we look forward to a match today between Ireland and the US of A, which has oh so much context for Group A, which is of course Pakistan's group. So much to discuss, so much to unpack, and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce now my wonderful co-host Rohat Nadeem, looking absolutely splendid in your beautiful Eastern wear.
Jumma.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Jumma Mubarak to all of you. As Erin said, इस मैच के लिए बहुत कॉन्टेक्स्ट है क्योंकि पाकिस्तान का जो फ्यूचर है इस वर्ल्ड कप में वो आज के मैच पे डिपेंड करता है कि क्या होगा. बारिश हो रही है इस वक्त फ्लोरिडा में, सो वी माइट नॉट गेट अ फुल गेम. अभी हमें आइडिया नहीं है. जैसे ही updates आएंगी, of course we will be updating you, but for now let's keep our focus on the earlier two games that have been played in the early hours of the morning, because even those games have had their own contexts going, especially for Afghanistan. As Erin said, they have booked their spot in the Super 8. So exciting times to be an Afghan cricket fan, and not so exciting times if you are a New Zealand cricket fan.
Oh gosh, haven't they announced themselves as a superpower on the world stage now in ICC tournaments? But to help us try and decipher all of the action that's been going on, of course, it's time to introduce our wonderful expert panel who bring oh so much experience. So much experience now. I've got some numbers for us today as we welcome in Martin Guptill, 7 T20 World Cups, 367 games for New Zealand. I think they terribly missed him in this edition of the T20 World Cup. Mr. Martin Guptill, one of the strongest strikers in white ball cricket. A pleasure to have you back with us here in the studio.
Thank you very much.
We've got Mr. Yunus Khan, the winner of that T20 World Cup in 2009. He's played 408 games for his country. He still has the most centuries across all formats of the game. Yunus Bhai, wonderful to have you back in the studio.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
And rounding out our panel, of course, the professor, the man who has all of the answers. He has the most man of the matches for Pakistan in the last 15 years. He's played 392 matches for Pakistan in his time. It's the professor, Mohammed Hafiz. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And Roha, that means we have 1,167 games of experience sitting on our panel. I feel completely underdone personally. I can't add anything to that other than it's an absolute pleasure to be.
Other than hours and hours of broadcast experience around the world covering cricket.
And a crown.
And you know what? That mattered the most.
Being on camera, looking all glamorous. It's not an easy job, Erin. So give yourself credit for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But, you know, gentlemen, we have so much to discuss here because the Super 8s are now starting to take shape. And we know now that from Group C, Afghanistan have joined the West Indies as being the ones to qualify for that. It was a really emphatic win over PNG in the early hours of the morning, Marty. And let's take a little look at the match summary of what we did see, though. Afghanistan, we knew they were the heavyweights going into this match. PNG, they tried valiantly, Roha, but they could only manage 95 on the board against Afghanistan. And look at that bowling once again. The leading wicket taker of the tournament, Fazal Haq Faruqi, with the new ball, just totally played all around the poor PNG batters. 3 for 16 from him, but backed up by his pacer twin Naveen ul Haq up the other end, 2 for 4 of 2.5 overs. And Nur Ahmed, he hadn't seen too much of him because Rashid Khan and Mujib have been doing all the damage, but he got an opportunity with the ball, 1 for 13 of 4. And from the PNG batters, credit to Dariga for putting on 26 off 32 balls. It was not easy conditions in Trinidad and Tobago. Now 13 off 19 balls, and Tony Ura, the captain, fought valiantly for his 11 off 18, but they got the job done in absolute emphatic style, the Afghanistani boys. 101 for 3 they posted, and Gulbuddin actually was who put them under the pump in terms of the bat. 49 red ink for him of just 36 balls. Mohammad Nabi, the ever-experienced veteran of the side, it's taken him 24 years to beat New Zealand, and well, he's in a side now that could very much go all the way this tournament, it seems. 16 red ink for him off 23 balls. And then the PNG bowlers, 1 for 16 off 3 from Kamea, and Vanua 1 for 18 off 3. They're fantastic figures up against the Afghanistan batters, but in the end, it was just too big an ask for the PNG boys. Plenty of experience to be gained from what was a big win, unfortunately, for Afghanistan over them, but well played by the PNG boys. And as we look at what that means for our Super 8 now, we know for sure that in Group C, it is Afghanistan and it is the West Indies that finish on top. They have that all-important qualifying queue next to their names. And Afghanistan, they're sitting pretty on the top of that points table with such a healthy net run rate. 4.23. Congratulations to the Afghanistani boys. I don't want to float my own boat here, but I did say I thought they were going to be in my top 4 heading into this competition. So I'm so glad that Marty Guptill isn't the only oracle in the studio for now.
I thought you were going to say so glad that New Zealand are heading home then.
well, and that was my first. we do like getting one over our trans-Tasman rivals, but the reason why that is, Guppy, is New Zealand is so good in World Cups. This is the first time in 10 years that they haven't managed to qualify for a semi-final, let alone even getting to the Super 8. So, coming to you first on what is not only just a big win for Afghanistan, but a big loss to New Zealand. They're literally booking their tickets home as we speak. Where did it all go wrong for New Zealand, do you think, this tournament? And what will they be reflecting on as what's been, unfortunately, their worst outing in a World Cup in any 50 over or 20 over formats in so many years?
Just going back on those stats about the where we finished in World Cups and things, we haven't not qualified for the next round since 1987.
87?
Yeah. You guys weren't even born then.
Well, I was born in 89 and I'm 35, so 37
This is a good answer.
So
it is a good answer.
I think that's a lot of World Cups in between. And of those 10 50 over World Cups, we've played in 7 semi-finals. We've played in, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4 semi-finals of T20 World Cups as well. So we've done really, really well. And it was probably almost about time that we didn't qualify. And then there's got to be a rebuilding phase. New Zealand know that, and there's another World Cup 2 years away, T20 World Cup. So they've got to start building towards that pretty quickly. Get the learnings of what went wrong here, whatever that may be. I don't know. It's up to them to do that reflection and stuff, and then it's all about starting to prepare for the next series, the series after that, and building towards that next World Cup, because that's going to be pretty important. They'll want to come back stronger from this World Cup, and underperforming so badly to have no wins from 2 games. They'll be very disappointed in that, and they'll want to rectify that very quickly.
यूनुस, आपका क्या रिएक्शन रहा? Because हमने early hours में ये मैच देखा अफगानिस्तान. We knew थोड़ा difficult opponent होगा for PNG, लेकिन जिस manner में उन्होंने ये मैच wrap up किया, जिस मोमेंटम में वो जा रहे हैं, they were unstoppable, and once again it was फजल हक फारूकी of course delivering with the ball as well. लेकिन आज बैटर्स में भी हमने गुलबदी नाइब की तरफ से एक अच्छा नॉक देखा, थोड़ा ब्रेक मिला है गुरबाज और जदरान को from those opening partnerships that we've been saying, but overall a well-rounded performance by Afghanistan.
बिल्कुल वो हमारे सामने है, और हम बार बार उनकी ये की बात कर रहे हैं कि अब अच्छे पॉइंट्स क्या हैं कि उनकी अगर आपकी बैटिंग देख लें, बॉलिंग देख लें, तो ख़ासतौर पर जब फास्ट बॉलर आपकी परफॉर्म कर रहे होते हैं तो एक अच्छा साइन है. जिस तरह हम उनके फास्ट बॉलर्स की बात करें तो वो दोनों जिस तरह, ख़ास कर फजल फारूकी जब आके ही टून सेट कर देते हैं तो वो वहाँ से एक बड़ा जो है ना, अब टीम में बैकफुट पे हो जाती है, क्योंकि सब टीम चाह रही होती है कि पावर प्ले में चले, कंडीशन इतनी टफ हैं, इतने ज़्यादा रन्स नहीं, लेकिन विकेट्स उनके हैंड में हैं और फिर बाद में कैचअप करें. लेकिन जिस तरह फजल फारूकी बॉल कर रहे हैं, वो बिल्कुल भी मौका नहीं दे रहे. वो आते हैं, विकेट्स लेते हैं, और फिर टीमें जब चेज़अप कर रही होती है इन बिटवीन द इनिंग्स तो मुश्किल हो जाता है. हमें पता है कि राशिद खान आएंगे, वो बेस्ट बॉलर हैं, वो आके आउट करेंगे, और जैसे उन्होंने आउट भी किए. लेकिन जब उनके फास्ट बॉलर्स की तरफ से इस तरह की परफॉर्मेंस होती है जो कि पास में मिसिंग थी, तो ये उनके लिए अच्छी बात है. और जिस तरह गुलबदी नायब ने आज ये एग्जीबिशन की बैटिंग की है, ये भी एक अच्छा साइन है, क्योंकि वो अब देखिए जब आपको बिग इवेंट्स जीतने होते हैं तो सिर्फ आप एक दो प्लेयर पे डिपेंड नहीं करते हो। अगर आप एक दो प्लेयर पे डिपेंड करोगे और अगर वो उनके खिलाफ कोई अच्छा प्लान आ गया और वो गिवन डे पे डिलीवर नहीं कर सके तो आपकी टीम बैकफुट पे होती है। तो मुझे लग रहा है कि एरन तो कह रही है कि वो टॉप 4 में, मुझे तो लग रहा है कि वो टॉप 2 में होंगे अफगानिस्तान की टीम।
वो जा भी सकते हैं जिस तरह का मोमेंटम और जैसे इनफॉर्म प्लेयर्स उनके इस वक्त
कुछ भी है, उनको सिर्फ अगर उनके सामने कहीं, जैसे मैं आपको ऑस्ट्रेलिया अगर सेमीफाइनल में कहीं सामने आ गई और उन्होंने वो पार कर लिया तो फाइनल में फिर उनके सामने कोई भी होगा वो जीत जाएंगे। बस ऑस्ट्रेलिया उनके सामने फाइनल में ना आए, क्योंकि फाइनल में जब ऑस्ट्रेलिया जैसे बड़ी टीम आती है तो उनको बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस है। मेरे ख्याल से अगर मैं आपसे अभी से कह रहा हूँ कि अगर उनके सामने ऑस्ट्रेलिया कहीं सेमीफाइनल में आ गई और वो हर्डल पार कर गए तो उसके बाद जो भी सामने होगा वो फिर नया चैंपियन मुझे लग रहा है कि अफगानिस्तान ना हो।
आई थिंक ये भी अबाउट टाइम दैट वी हैव अ न्यू world T20 champion, you know.
No.
The Aussie here is disagreeing, but I think Erin, it's time we all see Australia just take a step back, let others win for a change.
No one's going to be letting anybody win. This is a
but
World Cup.
Hafiz, coming back to Afghanistan's performance, we have talked over and over again about adapting and of course अपने आप को चैलेंज करने की आपने बात की हुई है बहुत बार कि टीम्स को ज़रूरत है कि हर तरह से अपने आप को टेस्ट कर ले, स्पेशली इन दीज गेम्स बिफोर यू गेट टू द नॉकआउट्स। अफगानिस्तान का फॉर्मूला हम सब जानते हैं, यू नो, पुट रन्स ऑन द बोर्ड एंड देन बॉलर्स आते हैं, अब उनके क्विक्स भी उनके स्पिनर्स भी। बट आज उन्होंने टॉस जीता, उन्होंने पहले बैटिंग के लिए भेजा पीएनजी को, उन्होंने अपने आप को हर तरह से एक एक्सपीरियंस दिया है हर कंडीशन का, और आज भी हमने देखा कि चेज करते हुए भी वो बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट हैं द वे ऑफ कोर्स देयर बैटर्स हैव बीन टेकिंग। वो कहते हैं ना बारियों में हर बंदे ने आके अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन दिया है इस अभी तक वर्ल्ड कप में। बट अ गुड प्रैक्टिस फॉर अफगानिस्तान एंड नाउ दे आर थ्रू टू द नेक्स्ट गेम।
Roha, there is always two sides of a team. One looks good on a paper and one looks good on in the ground. Afghanistan is the one team जो जिनकी प्रोग्रेस ग्राउंड में शानदार है। वो शायद आपको कभी ना कभी पेपर पे वो शानदार उनके बड़े नाम ना लगें, but they are excellent team in the ground. They playing for a right reason that they wanted really to rise at highest level, क्योंकि उनकी स्ट्रगल है इसके लिए, उन्होंने बड़ी मेहनत की है इसके लिए, and they deserve to be there. On the other hand, New Zealand, I think they need to have a very serious and honest reflection what happened, because I can't take it as a fan of New Zealand team, because whenever I watch New Zealand team, I seen a great team effort from them. There's something went wrong because these are not the newcomers. The team bonded by the captain who's been leading from the last many years. Then all the senior players were available. Yes, there could be something by planning, by the management, by the captain or whoever is you know, obviously the decision maker has to reflect honestly like what happened wrong, and they have to come up with the right solution, because you know these kind of team like New Zealand if they are not qualifying to the semi-final, as Martin mentioned, from the last 30 years or 25 years of the international cricket, they are always on the top of the international table. Like when you talk about representing the country at the highest level in ICC events. But this is really shocking result from New Zealand fan point of view. But they have to see like what they can do best for the team, because we can't see that going down this way. Yeah. And you never know, today again Pakistan can face the similar kind of result, because if you don't do well in the ground, you don't deserve to be there. And at the moment Afghanistan is the right team to qualify for the Super 8. They're showing the intent, they're showing they are good enough to compete at this level. They're getting the right results, and every part of their team is basically working as a team, and they're bringing the result for the team.
And the captaincy is also working, you know.
Yeah, captaincy, if you talk about Fazil Haq Farooqi, like in each and every game he's growing himself, like he's bringing the impactful performances. Gurbaz, whenever he performs, impactful performances. The guys who were waiting for that impactful performance, Gulbadeen and all those people, they got a chance and they delivered it. So this is a complete team effort where the people are not relying on one or two person. The most of the players, like कोई भी above the team नहीं है. Unfortunately जो टीमें अपने आप को या वो individuals जो टीमों से बड़े अपने आप को समझते हैं, उनके रिजल्ट बुरे आ रहे हैं. तो हमें ये देखना है कि क्यों अफगानिस्तान कामयाब है, क्योंकि वो सब ये हासिल करना चाह रहे थे. सब, मैं बात कर रहा हूँ प्लेयर्स की, मैनेजमेंट की और पूरी नेशन की, और उसकी एक बड़ी स्ट्रगल है जिनकी उनको पिछले 5-7-10 सालों में उन्होंने इकट्ठा करके एक राइट प्लानिंग के साथ लेके आए. होम ग्राउंड उनके पास नहीं है, फर्स्ट क्लास क्रिकेट उनके पास नहीं है. आप सोचें कि इन सारी मुश्किलात के बावजूद उनका जो determination है, the commitment they are showing is just incredible.
Couldn't agree more, Hafiz. And when you look at the rise of Afghanistani cricket, it started off with individual brilliance on the international stage with the likes of Mohammad Nabi and Rashid Khan, and now that's spread and there's individual brilliance from so many of their players, but cohesively they're working together so well as a unit, supporting each other, getting the job done, and the sense of camaraderie I think is very obvious. Every time you see them come out to play, it means so much to them to get this opportunity on the world stage, and they're absolutely making it count. And we talk about some of the new stars that are rising out of Afghanistani cricket, Martin, we'll have to come back to Fazl Haq Farooqi, because he's now the leading wicket taker in the tournament. He's taken 12 wickets at an economy of 3.5. He had another wonderful performance today with 3 for 16 off his 4. I mean, what is it about him and his left arm seam that is just so potent? No matter where he's playing in the world now, he's making inroads in every single competition, every single continent. And, you know, we relive his innings now against the PNG, but, you know, what do you like about what he brings to the Afghanistani bowling unit?
He's been really impressive, hasn't he? And it's not only for Afghanistan, as you say, it's in all the teams he plays around the world. And having faced him a few times, you know, he runs in, hustles and bustles in. He's quite a skiddy wee bowler. He's not very tall. But the confidence that he's bringing into his game and what he's trying to do with the ball is really impressive. He's getting the ball swinging both ways. He's using his lack of height to get the ball skidding and stay a little bit low at times as well, which as a batter is very, very tough to handle, especially as a taller player like myself. He's got me a couple of times where the ball's just skidded through a bit lower than I think. So, you know, he's just bringing such a great skill set and confidence to not only his personal performance, but for his team as well. You know, he wants to be the player to knock the top off an order, and he's doing it. You know, he's walking the walk, not just talking the talk. So, you know, hats off to him. He's come in with a real new confidence in his own game in this World Cup, and he's reaping the rewards for that.
And how great for Rashid Khan as a captain to go, here you go, son, here's the new ball, get me a couple in the power play. Each and every time this World Cup, he's done just that.
And his plan is just, you know, as he said after the game as well, he's like, I've got 2 plans. If there's movement, if I'm getting seam and swing, my plan is to just get wickets. But if there is no movement, I just keep it simple. You know, I bowl in the right areas, and that's what has always rewarded him. And I think a smart bowler needs to know what his plan is if there's no help from the surface. And I think that's what makes him so smart, because he has been playing league cricket, so that's really helping him polish himself. But I think great for Afghanistan that they now have such a well-balanced, a well-rounded team. क्विक्स भी विकेट्स ले रहे हैं हर गेम में, और नवीन उल हक के सपोर्ट में फजल, ये दोनों की पार्टनरशिप. एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स वी नो व्हाट द स्पिनर्स कैन डू. बैटिंग में भी इस तरह यूनुस आप भी अभी कह रहे थे कि इनके बैटर्स भी जिम्मेदारी के साथ अब बैटिंग करने लगे, चाहे वो स्पेशलिस्ट बैटर्स हैं, चाहे वो ऑलराउंडर्स हैं, सबको अपने रोल पता है. आज गुलबदीन नाइब ने वो जिम्मेदारी शो की जब आपको पता है आपके ओपनर्स जल्दी आउट हो गए हैं और टीम प्रेशर में है. He was very responsible with the bat today, took very calculated risks, and in the end it helped Afghanistan to stay calm and stay alive in the game.
बिल्कुल ऐसा ही है. मैं अगर उनकी बात करूं तो जो मैं एरन के लिए भी कहना चाहूँगा कि they follow the footstep of team Australia. They're good with the fast bowling, they are better, the intent is there, they want a big innings in the field, they are very energetic, and they play as a team. So what you want, you know, something else from the team. तो मेरे ख्याल से यही वो point है कि जो कि अगर if they face Australia in semi-final, I think they have a good chance to win against Australia. But in the final, maybe they are shaky. मैं सही बता रहा हूँ आपको, ये वो पॉइंट है जिसको करेगा, क्योंकि वो उनका जो उनकी जो बॉडी लैंग्वेज है, जो स्टाइल है, वो बिल्कुल ऐसा ही है कि हम आएंगे, हम चाहे बॉलिंग करेंगे, बैटिंग करेंगे, हम वो इंटेंट दिखाएंगे और
just going for the kill, you know,
हाँ,
not wasting any time.
Simple.
Let's
जैसे
take another
क्या
look at the batting as well. जो हम गुलबदीन की बैटिंग की बात कर रहे थे, इस पे भी मैं आपका ओपिनियन लूंगी कि जिस तरह उन्होंने नंबर 3 पे आके वो रोल संभाला, आसान नहीं होता.
गुलबदीन जो है कैप्टन भी रह चुके हैं, पास में बहुत क्लोज थे कि 50 ओवर के गेम में पाकिस्तान के बहुत करीब थे, मैच नहीं जिता सके, तो इन्होंने लर्न किया. और इनकी अगर आप बैटिंग का हम स्टाइल देखेंगे तो ये क्या करते हैं कि क्योंकि इनकी बैट बहुत अच्छी है, बहुत स्ट्रेट बैट के साथ खेलते हैं, और उनको पता है कि उनके जो राइट जोन्स हैं, जहाँ भी उनको थोड़ा सा रूम मिलेगा वो जाएंगे बिग शॉट्स के लिए। और ऐसा नहीं है कि हम एक बात करते हैं कि आप हर शॉट ट्राई करते हैं, वो प्रॉपर बैटर्स की तरह खेलते हैं, सामने भी खेलते हैं, कॉर्नर्स में भी खेलते हैं, और जहाँ भी थोड़ा सा उनके जोन में मिलता है तो वो बिग बाउंड्रीज के लिए जाते हैं। तो ये एक अच्छी साइन है, क्योंकि वो सीनियर भी हैं और वो चाहते हैं कि परफॉर्म, और उनको बाजू का चांस भी कम मिल रहा होता है, और वो एक अच्छा जो है एक अच्छे फील्डर है और अच्छे ऑलराउंडर है। जब उनको बॉलिंग के लिए आप उनको बॉल कराओगे तो वो अपनी पूरी एनर्जी से देंगे। तो मेरे ख्याल से ये वो पॉइंट्स होते हैं जो कि अच्छी टीम, जब आपको मौका मिले तो आप परफॉर्म करो।
मैं यूनिस भाई को एक मुबारकबाद दे दूं कि इनका ना सेमीफाइनल इंडिया से पड़ रहा है और ना ही ऑस्ट्रेलिया से पड़ रहा है, अफगानिस्तान की टीम का, क्योंकि ये एक ही पोल में है सुपर 8 के अंदर। तो इसका मतलब है यहाँ से जो भी क्वालिफाई करेगा वो अगले पोल की टीमों के साथ खेलेगा, तो ये आपको खुश
बस जबरदस्त हो गया ना फिर तो बस फिर तो जबरदस्त हो गया,
क्योंकि वहाँ के सामने इंडिया, अफगानिस्तान और शायद बांग्लादेश
सामने ऑस्ट्रेलिया नहीं आना चाहिए फाइनल में।
So no Australia, that's
no Australia, no India. So this is
no Australia, no India for Afghanistan if they qualify.
Are you feeling well? Are you feeling well?
Semi-final. But another very one-sided game took place in the early hours of today. We're talking about England against Oman. What a game. I think it was only half a game, if you can even call it that. 47 is what Oman were able to do in their innings with the bat, and of course all thanks to Adil Rashid, the way he kept it tight with the ball. 4 wickets for him in his 4 overs, and Archer and Mark Wood, of course, with 3 each, giving away just 12 runs. So a very convincing bowling attack from England against Oman. They were pretty much one-sided as far as the game went in the first innings. Agar aap dekhein batting mein, Butler, finally we saw something from him. We've been missing this from his bat. 24 not out of just 8. They were aware of the net run rate context, और इसी वजह से जो उन्होंने मैच को बिल्कुल almost 3 overs के अंदर wrap up किया. Phil Salt with 12, Bairstow of course sticking there in the end as well. Bowling में ओमान ने Kaleemullah took 1 wicket in his 1 over, and of course 1 wicket by Bilal. In the end, a convincing, quick win. A clinical one from England. They needed it to be clinical and quick because of course the net run rate was also hanging in the balance for them, and there you have it. England अब जी नंबर 3 पे आ चुके हैं अपने ग्रुप में, 3 पॉइंट्स के साथ भी हैं, और उनका नेट रन रेट भी अब थोड़ा पॉजिटिव में चला गया है, which makes it easier for them to approach the next game. And well, that's the points table. Oman unfortunately haven't been able to get a point, but this will be a great experience for them to take forward in the next one. Erin, your thoughts on the pretty much one-sided game we saw? England, of course, still keeping themselves alive.
I mean, it was an absolutely ruthless dispatching of Oman, it has to be said. England knew they had to win, and they had to win by a massive margin, and that's exactly what they've done. The defending champions have come out, they've made a statement, they're still behind the 8 ball, they still need things to go their way to qualify. But as we take a little look at this graphic now, it's the biggest win in terms of balls remaining ever in an ICC T20 World Cup. And Hafiz, if you've got to win, and you've got to win big, this kind of a victory is exactly what you need to do to try and send a warning statement and send a little bit of shockwaves around the group, right? What did you think of the big win by England?
I think first of all Aussies should be careful now, because this is the statement not for themselves, this is the statement for the Aussie.
We already beat them.
The way they received that statement, it shows that. So I think the things were ready, they were waiting for the chance where they can make an impact, and I think rightly after winning the toss, they opted to bowl first, and then they knew what they wanted to gain from this game, and they did that exactly the same way. The first 2 balls faced by, while they were chasing it, first of all, obviously Adil was brilliant with the ball, and they given themselves a best chance where they never allowed them to get any total, which they would take longer to chase it down. So I think, and then when they were chasing, the first 2 balls faced by Salt went for a 6.
Yeah.
So the intent was very much right, like what they really
4-1.
wanted to. And they wanted to finish the game as soon as possible to get that extra net run rate issue things sorted. So I think they have done that. I know they are, again, they have to look at the next game, they have to win and all other calculation. But this kind of statement you required as a team. When you really get hurted by something, then you come up with the strong performances. So I think that's what the world champion England is showing at the moment. They must be not happy from the performances so far, what happened past. So now whatever chances, whatever opportunity they are getting out of it, They are showing to the world like we are a world champion, we are here for a right reason. So I wish them all the best. I really want England to go further, and I want them to face Australia in semi-final.
Oh, I mean, I'd like a good rematch too. Why not? Keep the Ashes rivalry going.
Speaking of match winners in their team, especially Hafiz, according to conditions, हम हमेशा बात करते हैं कि आपकी prep कितनी है World Cup, you know, going into a World Cup where you know spin friendly tracks होंगे. Adil Rashid once again coming through for England और अच्छा खासा एक्सपीरियंस है उनके पास इन T20 इन वाइट बॉल क्रिकेट और आज भी जिस तरह उन्होंने रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी शो की पिकिंग अप 4 विकेट्स इन हिज 4 ओवर्स. अगर हम एक और रीकैप करें उनके स्पेल का, हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इज समबडी लाइक आदिल रशीद इन दीज कंडीशंस?
देखिए आदिल की परफॉर्मेंस की बात करें, इन द लास्ट 10 years ऑफ इंग्लैंड क्रिकेट ही इज होल्डिंग वाइट बॉल क्रिकेट एज ए स्पिनर फॉर देम, क्योंकि हर एक कंडीशन चाहे वो ईस्ट में जाएं चाहे वेस्ट में जाएं, ही इज परफॉर्मिंग एवरीवेयर. और दूसरी तरफ मैं आपको बताऊं कि आपको नहीं लगता कि इंग्लैंड के अंदर कोई और लेग स्पिनर नहीं होगा, कोई यंग लेग स्पिनर नहीं होंगे? क्यों नहीं खिला रहे? बिकॉज इफ समवन इज डूइंग अ ग्रेट जॉब फॉर द टीम, वी डोंट नीड एनीवन एल्स. तो राशिद को अगर आप देखें, इन द लास्ट 10 years ऑफ इंग्लैंड क्रिकेट इन्होंने शानदार क्रिकेट खेली है, हमेशा मैच विनर रहे हैं और वाइट बॉल क्रिकेट के अंदर इनकी परफॉर्मेंसेज हमेशा उभर के सामने आई हैं. तो मुझे लगता है कि ये वो पॉइंट है जिसको समझने की ज़रूरत है कि आपके पास टैलेंट मौजूद होता है. ऐसा नहीं कि आपको यंगस्टर नहीं खिलाने, लेकिन जो काम कर रहा है, जो अच्छा काम कर रहा है, उसको क्यों बदला जाए? जैसे मार्टिन इज हियर, लाइक आई बिलीव दैट दिस गाय स्टिल कैन प्ले फॉर न्यूजीलैंड, बट समथिंग management think that they wanted to move on from Martin Guptill, but I felt if someone can add that value into your team for a maximum longer time, you should give that chance to someone, because he got experience. If you talk about Adil, he got experience and he knows how to deliver in different conditions. That's the reason they have someone who already winning games for them and they are not changing with anyone else. I know there must be a youngster waiting for that, but they have to wait a little bit longer because one place is there as a leg spinner and this guy is doing a great job. And
even the youngsters need time to go through that entire pathway where they play enough domestic cricket and when they are ready to take that international pressure, because that's what we have seen in Pakistan cricket. We rush talent you know, so quickly into the international arena that sometimes that talent, I mean Abrar Ahmed is part of the squad for a while now.
देखिए हम ये बात बार बात करते हैं, जब हम टीम में आए तो हमारे सामने रोल मॉडल्स थे. सईद अनुज मौजूद थे वहाँ पे, एजाज अहमद थे, सलीम मलिक मौजूद थे, इंजमामुल हक काफ़ी अरसे से खेल. जब हमारे सामने ऐसे रोल मॉडल होंगे और हमने उनसे आगे जाना है तो हम फिर ज़ाहिर सी बात उनसे अच्छे होंगे तो आगे जा सकते हैं. अगर आज हम विराट कोहली की बात कर रहे हैं या रोहित शर्मा की बात कर लें, यही एक दो चैम्पियन, बाकी भी टीम बहुत ज़बरदस्त है, लेकिन वो किन के साथ खेलें? सचिन के साथ खेलें, द्रविड़ के साथ खेलें, सहवाग के साथ खेलें, तो ये लर्न करते हैं. जब आपके ड्रेसिंग रूम में वो एक ऐसी फिगर्स नहीं होंगे तो प्रॉब्लम होती है. यही ऑस्ट्रेलिया की बात है, यही इंग्लैंड की. इवन अगर मैं न्यूजीलैंड की भी बात करूं तो वहाँ पे भी 2-3 ऐसे प्लेयर्स हैं जो काफ़ी अरसे से खेल रहे हैं.
अब फॉर एग्जांपल, यू नो, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट जोफ्रा आर्चर, यू नो, ही हैज़ वेटेड फॉर दैट call up because he had to be at that level of fitness where he could take that pressure, and look at how he's delivering now. He's the main attack guy for England and you know he has made that comeback with all of that grandeur that we were expecting from him.
Yeah, he was bang on target once again, wasn't he, Marty? Just the absolute pace. The Omani batters were all at sea, and a fit Jofra Archer is, you know, warning signs for other teams when he's playing for England.
Yeah, he's a special bowler. He's a talisman. You know, he makes things happen, and we saw in the 2019 World Cup how effective he was. Earned his maiden test call up later that summer in the Ashes, and we all saw what happened there. So, you know, when he's on and he's not injured and he's fully fit, you know, it is a little bit of alarm bells for opposition teams because they know what he can do, and if he's on song, it's pretty tough to face. I mean, you know, he's got pace. He can get up to around the 150 mark. I don't think he's quite there yet. He hasn't quite got that game time under his belt yet. But having read a couple of interviews he's done, he feels ready and he feels like he can handle the workload now, which is only good for England with an Ashes series coming up. Was it next year in Australia? Something like that. So who knows? England may turn up to Australia and play next time.
Yeah, strike weapon for England is back on song, back in form, back in good health. Danger signs for everyone else when Jofra Archer is on the money. But we're off to a very short break here at Vantage Developers Presents Game on Hey. Of course, we're building up to tonight, Pakistan Times match. It is USA taking on Ireland, should Mother Nature let us. So after a very short break, we'll have all of the action and hopefully the live action on the other side.
Ji, welcome back to Vantage Developers Presents Game On है. We're building up to another very exciting contest between two very interesting teams in this World Cup so far. In the context कि इस वक्त बारिश भी हो रही है. We don't know if we're going to get a game, a shorter game, या points share होंगे because a lot depends on this game. But anyway, let's start our build up. It's USA taking on Ireland in match number 30 of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024. इस वक्त जो सिनेरियो नज़र आ रहा है लॉडरडेल फ्लोरिडा में वो ये है कि it's outpouring heavily and of course हम आपके साथ visuals भी share करेंगे just in a bit. There you can see on your screen inspections are continuing right now, but chances of a game happening, or at least look at that. Look at the puddles on that outfield, Erin.
It's a very wet, very dangerous looking outfield just to see the pictures that we're seeing at the moment, Roha.
Doesn't look good for USA, for Ireland or even for Pakistan because of course अगर आज का match नहीं होता USA and Ireland will share points and that means USA go through and Pakistan, well, they will be booking their flights back because
roll, sir. Roll as fast as you can. You need a bigger roller by the looks of it. Look
Not
at
sure that
water.
little thing's doing anything, to be honest.
No. So in this
I mean, look, it's going straight back on the field.
Oh, no.
Again, it's coming back here.
But, Marty, in this situation, yes, so we know that even if it's not raining at the current time when the game's due to start, wet outfield can be deemed unsafe and unfit for play, whether or not the square remains dry enough to get a game. The outfield is so important. So for our viewers at home, you know, what are they looking for in order for it to be deemed fit enough to play? And what's acceptable in this situation, given this really is a must-win for, you know, three sides, let's face it, between USA, Ireland and Pakistan. Everyone wants this game to happen, definitely from where we are. But what are they looking for in these circumstances at the moment as match refs?
For it to be dry enough to be safe. I mean, that's the biggest concern for them is player safety. You know, you don't want to be running in the outfield and you go to slow down and your feet just slip out from under you. You know, I've been in that situation before and it's not fun. But that's all they're looking for, is for it to be safe for players. And if it's, I mean, from those pictures, it doesn't look like it's going to be safe anytime soon. I know from what my wife has said to me, she's over there working, that there's one particular patch on the outfield that they're really concerned about, and that seems to be almost underwater. So they're trying to dry that as quick as they can, but with there being no sun out there to help dry it, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to get on.
And of course the toss is also going to be affected by that because हम अभी build up यही कर रहे हैं as we get the pitch report, if we get a pitch report in time, if we get a toss in time. But anyway, let's talk a bit about both the teams because बहुत बड़ा bummer होता है यूँ जब आप game के लिए जा रहे हो, wait कर रहे हो और ये situation हो ground की. बट यूएसए जिस तरह से फ्लरिश करते हुए आ रहे हैं इस वर्ल्ड कप में, हम में से शायद बहुत कम लोगों ने ये सोचा था कि वो सुपर 8 के लिए क्वालिफाई करेंगे बिकॉज उनका पहला वर्ल्ड कप है. बट सम ऑफ देयर की प्लेयर्स सच एज एरन जोन्स, यू नो, हु हैज़ बीन डिलीवरिंग विद द बैट फ्रॉम गेम नंबर 1, हाउ इम्पॉर्टेंट has he been? Because we have seen especially in the conditions where it has been ideal for batting, he has gone for those runs and he has taken those shots at boundaries. अगर हम उनके stats भी आपके साथ share करें, he has the best boundary percentage in this World Cup. But what will you say on the importance of somebody like Aaron Jones to the USA team?
देखिए, एरन जोन्स की अगर मैं बात करूं तो उनके देखें ख़ास तौर पे जो स्पिनर्स को खेलते हैं वो बहुत ज़बरदस्त है, क्योंकि नॉर्मली अगर हम एक ऐसे बैटर की बात करते हैं जो कि इन कंडीशन में
72% उनकी जो बाउंड्रीज हैं यूनिस, दैट्स his control and it speaks of you know the experience that he has. अगर इंटरनेशनल में नहीं भी है फिर भी क्रिकेट का
वही बात कह रहा हूँ कि देखें अगर आपको जिस पोजीशन पे वो खेलते हैं, जब वो मिडिल का फेज़ आता है तो जितने भी टीमें हैं उनके पास क्वालिटी स्पिनर्स होते हैं. अगर मैं पाकिस्तान की बात करूं, मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया की बात करूं, ठीक है, वो कनाडा के ख़िलाफ़ खेले हैं, हम पाकिस्तान के ख़िलाफ़ खेले हैं, ठीक है. तो ये जो मेन में जो एक फ़ेज़ है जहाँ पे हमने देखा है कि कुछ टीमें क्या करेंगी, वो फास्ट बॉलर्स बहुत एक्सक्लूसिव फास्ट बॉलर खिला रहे हैं, लाइक नोकिया की बात कर रहे हैं, जोफ्रा आर्चर की बात कर रहे हैं.
some visuals, sorry to interrupt you there Yunus, but थोड़ा सा लग रहा है कि the sun might be out for just a little bit. और थोड़ा सा वो ड्राइंग जो प्रोसेस है आउटफील्ड का वो थोड़ा सा स्टार्ट होगा. वी डू हैव सम अपडेट्स फॉर यू एंड वी विल बी गिविंग यू लाइव अपडेट्स एज दे कम. बट करंटली थोड़ी धूप की किरण या उम्मीद की किरण.
अच्छी बात है. देखिए ये जो इस वर्ल्ड कप का जो गेम नंबर 30 है ना, ये बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है. वो तीनों टीमों के लिए, और हम तो फॉरएवर हम याद रखेंगे। लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप की बात करें तो हमें वो साउथ अफ्रीका का एक मैच याद है।
हम हमेशा यहाँ तक पहुँचते हैं कि हमें कुदरत की हेल्प चाहिए, हमें बाकी
कुदरत की तो हमें हेल्प हर वक्त चाहिए।
अपने वजह से अपने मेरिट पे क्यों नहीं प्रोग्रेस कर रहे आगे? ये फैंस भी आई थिंक अब इस पॉइंट पे आ गए वेयर दे आर लाइक ठीक है जो मर्जी हो। इस तरह कल हफीज ने भी शो में बात की कि
कुदरत का एक निजाम तो है ना,
जरूरी नहीं है कि वो निजाम हर वक्त पाकिस्तान को फेवर करे। कुदरत ने भी कहना है खुद भी आप कुछ करें।
अल्लाह की मखलूक जो है ना, अल्लाह ने मखलूक पूरी दुनिया में बनाई यार, और वो उसको सबके लिए इक्वली जो है वो अल्लाह ने डिस्ट्रीब्यूट की हुई अपनी रहमत। लेकिन वो मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी वो रहमत हासिल करने के लिए। आपका बिलीव कोई भी हो, मखलूक तो सारी अल्लाह की है।
अच्छा, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट this entire rule, of course, because the points sharing, it gives a lot of hope to some teams, but it also really dampens your spirits if you are in a position of somebody like Pakistan कि आप बारिश की वजह से you don't get a game, you don't get maybe that fair chance of qualifying to the Super 8. Do you think ICC should look at weather conditions and maybe have some other options like a reserve day or maybe changing the venue?
देखें, ये जो शेड्यूलिंग होती है ये 2-2 माह 4-4 माह पहले सेटल हो जाती है, और आपको 4 माह पहले 2 माह पहले वेदर का नहीं पता होता। तो पहले तो ये समझें। उसके बाद जब आप ये बात करें कि ये क्या शेड्यूल चेंज किया जा सकता है, या वो चीज़ जो एक दिन बाद है वो नहीं हो सकती, क्योंकि लॉजिस्टिकली इट्स इम्पॉसिबल। ठीक है, यू कैन नॉट मूव अ गेम फ्रॉम लॉडरहिल टू मियामी। यू कांट डू दैट थिंग बिकॉज आपके लिए ये मुश्किल है, क्योंकि आप एक वेन्यू से दूसरे वेन्यू शिफ्ट नहीं कर सकते। अभी अगर ये कहें कि हम लोग दोबारा न्यूयॉर्क में चले जाएंगे, आप नहीं कर सकते। तो लॉजिस्टिकली इट्स इम्पॉसिबल। यू कैन नॉट कंट्रोल द वेदर, बट येस ऑब्वियसली जो वन ईच पॉइंट देने वाला जो रूल है वो इसलिए रखा गया ताकि दोनों को इक्वली ट्रीट किया जाए। अदरवाइज ये भी किया जा सकता है कि दोनों को कोई पॉइंट ना मिले, उसको टोटल वॉश आउट कर दिया जाए, ताकि उस पॉइंट के साथ, क्योंकि आपने को मैच नहीं खेला तो फिर आपको पॉइंट क्यों मिले। तो हल ये निकल सकता है कि अगर कोई वॉश आउट गेम हो जाए, स्पेशली वॉश आउट की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, या पूरा कंप्लीट ना हो सके बाय एनी बैड रीज़न, तो आप उस सारे मामले को इवन के ऊपर ख़त्म कर दें। इट शुड कॉल अ वॉश्ड आउट रादर देन कि आपने कुछ किया ही नहीं तो आपको 1 पॉइंट क्यों मिले। तो ये किया जा सकता है, लेकिन इसके लॉजिस्टिकल अरेंजमेंट्स को रीअरेंज करना इट्स रियली गोना बी डिफिकल्ट।
बट आई बेट दैट न्यूयॉर्क
पोजीशन में आई ना देखिए इस पोजीशन में आई ना आप देखें, आप पहले से थोड़ा सा अहेड रहें अपनी प्लानिंग में, अपनी गेम्स पे। हम हमेशा ये बात करते हैं कि इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट यही है कि आप थोड़ा सा अहेड रहें, आप प्रिपरेशन अच्छी रखें और आप रेडी रहें कि जी हमें क्या आ सकता है। देखिए कुछ टीमों ने किया, ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने किया ये काम के पहले मैच से ही वो अपना रन रेट अच्छा रख रहे हैं। उसके बाद हमने अफगानिस्तान की टीम को देखा कि वो भी अप टू मार्क है। फिर हमने देखा एक और टीम को, साउथ अफ्रीका को, कि वो इस दफ़ा पूरी प्लानिंग करके आई हुई है कि वो नेट रन रेट भी अच्छा होना चाहिए और पूरा प्रिपरेशन करें। तो अगर आप देखें, अगर हम अपनी टीम की बात करें, आज जो जितनी स्टेटमेंट्स आ रही हैं, आज जो मीडिया में बात हो रही है, प्लेयर्स की बात हो रही है, ठीक है, तो भाई आप मुझे बताएं कि जब, और आज कोचेस की तरफ से भी बहुत सारे बयानात आ रहे हैं, आज मेरे सपोर्टिंग स्टाफ की तरफ से भी आ रहे हैं, चेयरमैन की तरफ से भी आ रहे हैं, तो भाई आप पहले क्यों कहाँ थे? अगर आपका मुझे बताएं हफीज़ भाई, आप तो क्योंकि इस सर्कल में बहुत ज़्यादा हो, आपके हेड कोच ने कब ज्वाइन किया आपको टीम को? कहाँ ज्वाइन किया?
कॉल उनके के 15 दिन पहले, 20 दिन पहले,
आयरलैंड वाली सीरीज़ के बाद
जी। तो भाई अगर क्या उनके लिए ये प्रायोरिटीज़ क्या थी? ये अच्छा वो तो उन्होंने कहा होगा कि यार मैं अवेलेबल नहीं हूँ, मेरी ऑलरेडी एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, तो आपकी क्या प्रायोरिटीज़ होनी चाहिए? जब आप मुझसे एक बात कर रहे हो, अब मैं आपके लिए आ रहा हूँ यहाँ शो में और मैं कहूँ नहीं है मैं तो नहीं आ सकता क्योंकि मेरा ऑलरेडी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, तो फिर मैं ऑन बोर्ड क्यों हूँ आपके? तो ये एक पॉइंट है कि जब आप फॉर ग्रांटेड लेते हो, जो टीमें फॉर ग्रांटेड लेती हैं, जो पर्सन ग्रांटेड लेती हैं और जो एसोसिएशन ग्रांटेड लेती हैं, तो बाद में रिजल्ट भी तो ऐसे आएंगे ना।
आई थिंक हेड कोच ने भी बहुत लेट ज्वाइन किया। आई डोंट थिंक कि हम उनको
नहीं गलत है ना, क्यों लेट क्यों ज्वाइन किया?
वो कोई उनके कमिटमेंट,
तो फिर आपको देखिए आप फिर को नहीं रखते, फिर उस ये पूरे वर्ल्ड कप में ही आप उनको नहीं रखते ना, तो जो जैसे चल रहा था तो वैसे चलने देते। अब वो आके स्टेटमेंट अगर मैं आके दे दूं इन बिटवीन में और आपके मिडिल ऑफ दी शो के मैं आ जाऊं और मैं कहूँ ये भी ठीक नहीं है, इसकी ये ठीक नहीं है, वो ठीक नहीं है, तो भाई मैं पहले आके ठीक कर लेता। तो ये जो एक पॉइंट है, देखिए पाकिस्तान की टीम है, किसी क्लब की टीम तो है नहीं, किसी गली मोहल्ले की, जो थोड़ा हार्ड लफ्ज़ वो हाश हो जाएगा, गली मोहल्ले की टीम तो है नहीं कि मैं अब आपके बैठ के ये बात करूँगा भाई जिसने नहीं आना वो ग्राउंड में बैठ जाए, घर पे बैठ जाए या होटल में बैठ जाए, जो टीम के लिए खेलेगा वो बस में बैठेगा। भाई ये पाकिस्तान की टीम है, ये प्राइड है। हम बाबर आजम की बात कर रहे हैं, मोहम्मद रिजवान की बात कर रहे हैं, शाहिन शाह अफरीदी की बात करें, बल्कि वो जो एक प्लेयर है जो पहला टूर पे है, जिसने अभी एक मैच भी नहीं खेला, उसकी सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट है। तो यही हम यहाँ बैठ के हमें थोड़ा सा कंट्रोल एग्रेशन शो करना है। सिंपल पॉइंट है कि देखिए ये तो हमारी प्लेयर्स हैं, हम इनको सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं हर हाल में। अगर हम बाबर की बात कर रहे हैं, रिजवान की बात कर रहे हैं, बॉलर्स की बात कर रहे हैं, बैटर्स की बात कर रहे हैं, फील्डर्स की बात कर रहे हैं, कैप्टनसी की बात करें, तो ये तो आज से तो ऐसा नहीं हो रहा, काफ़ी अरसे से हो रहा है। ठीक है, इन्होंने हमें मैचेस भी जितवाए हैं, लेकिन मेरा पॉइंट ये है कि आप गलती करने के लिए क्यों देते हो, और मेरा पॉइंट है कि आप उनको एक्सपोज करने के लिए मौका क्यों दे रहे हैं। भाई नहीं करें एक्सपोज, पहले से सेट करके जाएं, पहले से आपका कोच जो है वो 3 हफ्ते पहले यहाँ बैठा हो, प्लेयर के साथ कैंप में हो, सीरीज़ों में हो। ठीक है, अब उसकी अब जाहिर सी बात है कि देखिए मेरी जो एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग कुछ और होगी आपके साथ, जो मेरी जगह हफ्ते बाद कोई और बैठा होगा तो उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग कुछ और होगी आपके पास।
Weeks and months of
बिल्कुल
planning
ऐसा ही है, ऐसा ही
for a World Cup, for a team to be ready for the pressure and
और अभी
challenge
वो टीम
of a
आई भी
World
नहीं
Cup.
है।
And
तो
you
हम
have a
उसके लिए
point
बात कर
that,
रहे हैं।
of course, when Gary Kirsten joined just weeks before the World Cup kicked off, I think it gave Pakistan very little time to prepare and, of course, adjust to that new direction. But I think a lot of people will need to take accountability. We need to, as fans and as media, we like finding,
उनको space दें,
we like pinning blames and finding shorter solutions for shorter terms, and I think that will not be something that will hold permanently, especially when you're trying to prepare for a World Cup, Erin.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, Pakistan's unfortunately in a position where they're hoping, absolutely hoping that the ground staff can work incredibly hard to try and remove that monstrous amount of monsoon water that's descended into Florida over the last couple of days, in the hope that this match happens, which gives them a chance to contest their match tomorrow and try and sneak into Super 8s. Plenty of things to unpack and discuss off the back of a disappointing World Cup, irrespective of what happens today and tomorrow for Pakistan. We'll continue those chats on the other side. We do know that the toss has been delayed. That's been confirmed in Lauderhill. So more discussion to happen on the other side of the break here at Vantage Developers Presents Game on Hey. We'll see you all very shortly.
G, welcome back to Vantage Developers Presents Game on Hai. We're building up to USA versus Ireland. Looks like it's still pouring heavily in Florida. Lauderhill mein aaj ka match hai. And we're getting live updates for you, but looks like the toss will be a little bit delayed as well. हमने आपको break से पहले visuals भी दिखाए थे. Still some puddles in the outfield that we could see. The covers were on, and right now it looks like the covers are off. But the ground staff are at it. As we can see, they're trying to get the field of play as dry as they can just before we hit that clock for the toss. But what are your thoughts on Florida, you know, starting this World Cup on such a sad note for some teams who, of course, have been waiting for these games to go on and, you know, waiting for those points, especially Pakistan, because, you know, Pakistan will be out of the World Cup if USA win in any scenario in today's game.
Yeah, the Sunshine State not seeing too much sunshine at the moment, which is a real shame. We all want to see cricket. I think this is unfortunately the very worst part of our game, is that we're totally dependent on Mother Nature. We don't play in the rain. I think maybe hopefully that's the step that we take next, is somehow we find a way to play through a little bit of rain just so we don't lose these crucial matches to weather. But of course the players' safety is paramount. You saw the ground staff are working exceptionally hard there at Lauderhill trying to get that outfield under control. The latest update is that we will have a pitch inspection at 7:30. That was the original time the game was meant to start. So inevitably that does mean that the toss has been delayed. I'm keeping an eye on my phone like a hawk, so any updates we get through, of course, we will pass those along to you. But I thought it might be an opportunity, Roha, to discuss what happens in this situation when there's rain around. So we know that legally we can get to a 5-over-a-side match, which will still constitute a game in this ICC T20 World Cup, which means we could, if the ground staff work exceptionally hard, which we know that they're doing, could somehow manage to get some sort of a game, which I think everyone is hoping for. I'm just wondering if we look at these two sides and how they match up, Marty, with, you know, the power of America, it has to be said, up against Ireland, who've been struggling for form but have more pedigree in terms of exposure on the main stage. And what do you think would happen if we did get a situation where in a couple of hours' time they go, right, you know, I think we can get 5 overs aside if no more Barish falls down from the sky? Who do you think that favours should that happen?
I don't think it favours either team. I think the shorter the game, you know, it brings both teams closer together, because we know that with the bat in such a small game, that one person just needs to go off and you know, have a bit of a timeout. You may only take 8 to 10 balls, but in that time you can take a game away pretty quickly. And saying that, like, it's the team that switches on first, because when you have so much time just waiting around, you can't actually think about cricket because you get mentally fatigued. So as a team, what New Zealand did, we used to kick the soccer ball around, just play football, however we wanted to do it, you know, whether it was in the change room, we play volleyball or whatever. You know, we'd not even think about cricket, we'd have some fun in another way. And then, but once it came time, we knew what was happening, we would switch on pretty quickly, and then it was about whoever switched on quickest out on the field, and whoever got away to the best start. I mean, 5 over games, I mean, it's anybody's ball game. You know, you can't say that, oh, it favours this team or favours this team. You know, it's just whoever gets out there and goes ballistic first up, really. And
we know it doesn't favour Pakistan in any way. If, of course, USA either get 1 point or 2 points going forward. हमने break से पहले USA की key players के बारे में हफीज़ बात की थी. We talked about Aaron Jones and of course the kind of show that USA have been putting up since their first game, especially with the bat we saw, with the ball we have seen. Some of the players are making rounds on social media as well. But let's talk about Ireland and their progression in the T20 World Cup format. If we have seen 2009 के बाद से जब भी वो T20 World Cup खेले हैं, हर एडिशन में हमने देखा है कि एक आधा सरप्राइज उनकी तरफ से आता है, एक आधा अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस, कभी कभी स्कैटर्ड परफॉर्मेंसेस आती हैं फ्रॉम सम ऑफ देयर इंडिविजुअल प्लेयर्स, बट एज अ टीम दे हैवंट येट made that mark and, you know, progressed to the next stage the way that, for example, a team like Afghanistan that we have talked about, कि कितनी quickly उनका वो development आया है, especially in the last 4-5 years, 10 years in fact. What will you attribute that to कि Ireland क्यों अभी तक वो mark छोड़ने में unable रहा है World Cups में?
देखिए, worry sign होगा surely for the Irish fans because they are the test nation now. When you get that tag as a test nation, फिर आपकी responsibility बढ़ जाती है. So I think they are not showing that capability so far in ICC events. Yes, they qualify every time. Yes, they play each and every ICC event because of the qualification or because of they're doing well at somewhere with playing with the associates member. But when they come to the ICC stage in any tournament, they are not leaving any impact. They are only the participant. So I think if you see the progress of a team, Afghanistan is on the top to me in the last 10-15 years, the way they progress themselves. And in this competition, I am the most impressed by US cricket team because these are the guys, as a newcomer to at that stage, they are showing a great attitude towards the game of cricket. They seem like they are ready, they prepared themselves accordingly, and so far they deserve to qualify. I don't care about whether I would like them to play the game, I would like them to play the game and win this game also, but if it will not happen too, then too they played so far a better cricket than many other teams. So I think they also deserve to be in the Super 8 stage. So I feel Ireland is underperformed like Bangladesh from the last many like 2 decades, more than 2 decades there. They've been given a test status and still they are trying to find their way how they can leave an impact as a good team. So Ireland is also one of the example where they got test status, they've been offered right opportunities by the ICC also. They do play all the like international games around the world, but still the collective effort to at the highest stage they are not been able to make an impact.
Right. And do you think कि बाकी जो associate teams जितने अच्छे से perform कर रही हैं इस World Cup में, इस समय USA है, हमने देखा Canada है, हमने देखा PNG के भी एक आधी अच्छी performance रही, आयरलैंड जैसी टीम जो 2010 के बाद से जो है वो फर्स्ट राउंड और सेकंड राउंड के आगे नहीं जा सकी, कितनी इंस्पिरेशन उनको मिलेगी या एक चैलेंज आप कह सकते हैं उनको मिलेगा कि जब बाकी टीम जैसे परफॉर्म आके करती हैं तो वो इतने सालों से जो वर्ल्ड कप्स में पार्टिसिपेट करें वो क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे?
देखिए, उनके लिए बिग टास्क तो है. देखिए, आपको जब हायर स्टेज पे परफॉर्म करना होता है अगेंस्ट बेस्ट टीम के, तो आपके पास देखें वो जो इंग्रेडिएंट्स होने चाहिए. आप सिर्फ कंडीशनल टीम नहीं बनेंगे कि आप अगर अपनी कंडीशन में खेलेंगे तो आप जीतेंगे या अच्छा परफॉर्म करेंगे. हमने एक टीम को देखा जो कि टीम अफगानिस्तान। उन्होंने बहुत जल्दी रियलाइज़ कर दिया कि हमने अगर बिगर स्टेज पे टीमों से कम्पीट करना है तो हमारे पास ये शोबे जो हैं मजबूत होने चाहिए। हमारा कैप्टन अच्छा होना चाहिए, उसके बाद कैप्टन अच्छा होना भी चाहिए और परफॉर्मर भी होना चाहिए, क्योंकि कैप्टन जब लीड करते हैं तो इट्स ऑल अबाउट डिपेंड करते हैं कैप्टन्स पे। अच्छा, उसके बाद हमारे पास ठीक है हमारी स्ट्रेंथ है स्पिनर्स, तो स्पिनर हम कितनी फ्रेंडली स्पिनर्स पिचेस हमें मिल जाएंगी। उसके बाद उन्होंने कहा कि जी अब हमारे पास एक्सक्लूसिव बैटर्स होने चाहिए, क्योंकि ख़ास तौर पर जब वाइट बॉल की क्रिकेट होगी तो वो आगे से आके वो पहले से ही वे इम्पैक्ट डाल दें, जो कि हमने अभी 50 ओवर के क्रिकेट में देखा कि उन्होंने आगे से ही जब उनकी बैटिंग हुई जब उनकी बॉलिंग हुई तो उन्होंने पहले ही मार्क छोड़ दिया। फिर हमारे पास ऐसे क्वालिटी फास्ट बॉलर्स होने चाहिए जो कि अगर कंडीशन स्पिनर्स के लिए नहीं है तो वो परफॉर्म करके दे दें। और फिर उसके बाद एक और है कि आपकी फील्डिंग अच्छी होनी चाहिए और आपकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज होनी चाहिए। फॉर सम हाउ आयरलैंड जैसी टीमें हैं वो नहीं कर सकी। अगर आज वो ये नहीं समझेंगे कि हमने सिर्फ पार्टिसिपेंट बनना है, हमने क्या पूरा दूसरी टीमों के साथ कम्पीट करना है, और फिर तीसरा ये कि हमने जीतना भी है, तो ये तीन ही पार्ट हैं, इसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं है। तो उसके लिए फिर आप प्रिपरेशन करते हो। तो मैं खैर फॉर सम हाउ वो प्रिपरेशन नहीं कर सके, और जैसे वो वही वाली बात है कि ऑन द गिवन डे अगर अच्छा कोई परफॉर्म हो गया तो शायद उन्होंने सरप्राइज़ दे दिया, जैसे उन्होंने हमारे खिलाफ किया 2007 में। अच्छा, हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं था, हफीज़ भी वहाँ थे, मैं भी वहाँ था, कंडीशन उनके लिए सूटेबल होगी, सुबह का मैच था वेस्ट इंडीज़ में, टॉस हम हार गए और 2-3 आउट हुए, उसके बाद उनका मोमेंटम बन गया और उन्होंने हमारे खिलाफ अच्छी परफॉर्म कर दी। तो मेरे ख्याल से देखो, आपको या तो आप कंडीशनल टीम बन जाओ जो कि आप अपनी कंडीशन में खेलें।
Scattered and isolated performances we have seen of course।
अच्छा, ये आपके अपने ऊपर है, ये अब आपकी इनके प्लेयर्स के ऊपर है, इनके बोर्ड्स के ऊपर है कि उनको कैसी प्रिपरेशन
तो खैर बहुत टीम्स की नहीं है इस वर्ल्ड कप की, नॉट जस्ट
वो
द
आपके
आयरिश
सामने
टीम।
बड़ी टीम कोलैप्स कर गई है।
Exactly।
तो इसीलिए कि देखें, आपको ये समझना है कि नेचर क्या कहता है, गेम का नेचर क्या कहता है, तो उससे अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत ज़रूरी। ये नहीं हो सकता कि हम अचानक इकट्ठे हो जाएंगे और हम जीत जाएंगे। बहुत कम ऐसी टीमें होती हैं। हम ऑस्ट्रेलिया की चलो इसलिए लेते हैं कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया के जो प्लेयर्स हैं सारे ही प्रोफेशनल प्लेयर्स हैं। ये नहीं कि हम ये कहेंगे जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया के प्रोफेशनल प्लेयर्स हैं और पाकिस्तान के नहीं है और न्यूजीलैंड के हैं और श्रीलंका के नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है। सारे ही प्रोफेशनल, सबको पता है क्या करना है, लेकिन आपको एक मोमेंटम बनाना होता है। वो मोमेंटम कैसे बनता है? जब आप थोड़े इकट्ठे हो जाओ, फिर एक दूसरे के साथ खेलते हो, फिर एक दूसरे को कॉम्प्लीमेंट करना होता है। जब आप एक दूसरे को कॉम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे होते हैं बैटिंग में, बॉलिंग में, फील्डिंग में, कैप्टनसी में, एज अ टीम, सपोर्टिंग स्टाफ, तो तभी बनता है। अगर आज मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि यार मैं तो आखिर में आया था, मेरा कसूर नहीं है, या मैं बहुत पहले 4 महीने पहले, और हमने अक्सर देखा है टीमें ये कहती हैं कि हम जी लीग्स खेल लेते तो हम फटीक में आ गए। तो भाई तो नहीं खेलते आप प्रिपरेशन रखते। आपके लिए अल्टीमेट गोल क्या है? आपके लिए अल्टीमेट गोल क्या है? वो आपको आपकी प्रायोरिटीज आपने सेट करनी है। अगर आपकी प्रायोरिटी सेट हो जाएगी तो हो जाएगा काम।
स्टेटमेंट तो यही आती है कि प्रायोरिटी इज़ टू प्ले फॉर द कंट्री, लेकिन वो नज़र नहीं आता। अगर आपके एक्शन जो हैं वो डिफरेंट हैं, अगर आपकी प्रायोरिटी पाकिस्तान खेलना है या अपनी नेशनल टीम से खेलना है, तो फिर आप लीग खेलने क्यों जाते हो? आप छोड़ दो लीग। जो उन्होंने बात की है कि यार ऑप्शन तो आपके पास है ना, व्हेन यू नो दैट देयर इज इंटरनेशनल big stage is about to be there, and if I move around as an international pro and play all international league and then I complained, I get an excuse after not performing well, underperforming, then I say that I'm fatigued, I was not mentally ready, we were not having a game time. So that is your responsibility to be available for the right time.
We saw last year Naseem Shah's injury that came right before the Asia Cup as well. In the World Cup it was affected, and then even then there was a lot of talk about whether if it's safe and logical for a player, for a key premier bowler to be playing in all these leagues right ahead of a big tournament.
One of the things, the dangers that you can fall into when you are a journeyman, one of these franchise T20 cricketers who plays all around the world, is you lose the ability to actually work on your game because you're always playing. You're moving around, you're always playing. So should you fall into technical funks, which happen to everyone, whether it's with the bat or the ball, fall into bad habits, you don't have the time to actually go back, work with your coaches and actually fix those issues. And then all of a sudden, you might be picked up for these leagues because you've had good form in the past, but a few bad performances, you stop getting asked back to these leagues too. So from my perspective, just from my knowledge of being a player's partner, I know how hard it is to balance that as a franchise player who only plays these leagues now as well, because you do fall into these technical deficiencies.
In past, it was our priority that if we are touring next year to Australia, then we play Big Bash. Because we have to adopt with the condition. We know what kind of pitch Gabba has or Sydney has. So it was like that in our past days. But now you just play everywhere, and then after that you feel I'm a fatigue, I'm not ready for big stage. So I think we have to make a balance in between where I have to play that league or not. So that is the main key for the international players.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really hard balance. There is so much cricket now around the clock. No matter the time of year, there are several leagues always competing against each other, irrespective of obviously the international circuit of what's happening. But, you know, just looking at the story of this World Cup, you have to say that the breakout stars, other than Afghanistan being a real contention for the title, have been what Team USA have managed to do. No one ever expected that in Group A, with the heavyweights of India and Pakistan, it would be USA that are threatening to end Pakistan's campaign, or Ireland's for that matter, as another test-playing nation. And I just wanted to throw it to you, Guppy, about, you know, the importance of the associate nations, investing in the right areas, and I think that starts at the top with the coach. And they brought on Stuart Law, so he's an Australian guy. He played a test match and numerous ODIs for Australia, a lot of pedigree when it comes to coaching. He's done very well for Queensland at a domestic level, but Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, he's spent time in England. He's done so well for America, and the experience of what he would be bringing to that side. You know, how important is it when you're an up-and-coming player or an associate nation player? What sort of importance does the coach make? And, you know, what do you think he's brought to this side as well? Because, you know, they're names that we've never heard of, and now you get the likes of Aaron Jones, Netravalka, who, I don't know if you've seen that meme going around, but the guy has a full-time job outside of cricket, and they're now saying he should change his resume to having Kohli and Rohit at the very top of the header. You know, for a man who's managed to garner such an incredible response from a team of relative unknowns in the cricketing world, how important is the coach from your perspective to a team, particularly to an associate nation?
I guess the way you put it is team direction comes from the coach. And I think Stuart Law has so much experience playing at the highest level, playing all over the world, but then also coaching as well around the world, and all these different experiences and things like that are only going to make him a better coach. You know, he's played World Cups, he's played Test cricket, he's played everything under the sun. You know, he's got all that experience under his belt to be able to share with the USA team, you know, and they've also got some experienced players like Corey Anderson, who's played 3 formats of the game at the highest level. They've got other guys who have been in and out, played first-class cricket in South Africa. Andreas House, Shadley van Skalkwyk. They've also got guys who have played under-19 World Cups for India. So they've got all this different experience. All this experience of playing in different parts of the world. But to have someone like Stuart Law leading that and giving the team some direction and giving them the freedom to go out and play their games, I think is really, really important. And I think if given the opportunity, I think Gary Kirsten can do the same for Pakistan. You look at his resume, what a wonderful club player he was for South Africa. What a wonderful coach he was for India. He's got a World Cup win under his belt as a coach for India. You know, he's got all this experience as well, and he's got his own cricket academy back in South Africa, which is doing an amazing job for coaches in South Africa for their development. So he is such a well-renowned, not one person, ex-player, but now a coach that can actually drive Pakistan cricket forward if he's given that opportunity. But coming back to USA, I mean, they're just playing out of their skin. It's wonderful to see. How cool is it? I mean, play cricket in the States. You know, who would have thought 10 years ago that that would be a thing, to play regular cricket there. Now they've got their own T20 competition to further develop their players and get people in to help them develop as a country, as a cricketing nation too. So it's only onwards and upwards from here for the USA, which is really awesome to see.
That was going to be my next question to you as well, because we know what it has taken these USA players to reach at this level. Some of them are still playing, already playing IPL, you know, franchise cricket around the world. But what's next for Team USA? For example, if we look at their performance in this World Cup, it's been outstanding. They've punched above their weight, way above their weight, and now we've seen some of the players already becoming icon stars, you know, across social media. But what is next for Team USA? Because as we talked about yesterday as well, the financial aspect is still a bit uncertain, because of course these players have alternate careers. So will we see many of them becoming full-time pro cricketers, because IPL contracts and all of these other franchise contracts are going to be there, and of course USA cricket are going to want to have them playing pro cricket round the year?
Oh, 100%. And then the only way to get better is to play more cricket. So, you know, they'll be wanting to ideally try and qualify for the 50 over Cricket World Cup. You know, I think was it last year they played in a qualification tournament in Zimbabwe, I think it was, and they did reasonably well. You know, a few teams there, I think Ireland, Scotland, and the West Indies were there also. So, you know, there's some pretty decent teams, you know, trying to qualify for these World Cups, and to be able to play consistently against them, that is the only way that they're going to get better to go forward and qualify for these World Cups. You know, they had automatic qualification for the T20 World Cup for hosting it, but they've proven that they are good enough to be there now. So who knows, in the years to come, you know, we might see them in more bilateral series against bigger nations to help grow their cricket. And who knows, you know, teams might be playing a lot more in America. You know, I'd love to see more tri-series, you know, especially T20 stuff. You know, I've played in one of those before, and that's a lot of fun to play against a couple of different teams and a couple of different countries and things like that over the years. Is, you know, those little tournaments are actually a lot of fun.
And we want to see more of that US-Canada rivalry as well. I mean, the
100%.
context of that, more cricket coming their way for sure.
I would like to add a couple of things regarding the progress of USA at the moment. 5 years ago, I heard something like US Cricket Board, the management behind that US Cricket Board, they wanted all the players, immigrants, to come to USA and play club cricket. And I was like, is there any scope to go there? But some of the players left Pakistan. I seen New Zealanders,
especially the youngsters.
They were leaving Pakistan and they were going for USA club cricket contract, and they were thinking that will obviously give them opportunity to play club cricket, and then also they will give that all those immigrants after 3 years, after 2 years, they will be eligible to represent USA. And I was like, let's see how it goes. Now I see the planning behind it. They basically, you know, at the moment USA is a team of immigrants. India, South Africa, New Zealand, Pakistan, they all people are from all different cricketing nations. They ask them to come and play for club cricket for them, and now they are eligible to play for the USA. You know what, this performance will give them a great opportunity to add more infrastructure development in USA. We have seen Dallas, New York, Miami. So all these other parts of the USA will also be encouraged by the management for sure after this performance, if they will qualify. Even though if they will not qualify for that long, they have shown a great results to the nation. Like, if you will invest in that way, we will give you the better results. So I think in future I can see, as a commercial point of view, US will be the next market. And number two, the players' response so far in this series, in this ICC World Cup, will give them a more opportunity to go to the grassroots level, provide them right facilities, first class setup, whatever way they can develop their cricket to come up with a better team, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been such a wonderful effort by Team USA. They performed absolutely out of their skin. And I don't think it's any surprise to see that after they get their own league in the MLC, they have T10s, they have other cricket of a larger nature being played around, giving opportunity to others. The more cricket they play, the better they get. And they've invested well at the top. I think Stuart Law's done an exceptional job with the side so far. And, you know, I'll just wonder how far they can go. I do hope, though, that there is a contest today. We do want to see a game contested. It'd be wonderful to see Pakistan still be in with a chance to sneak through to the Super 8. But keep those fingers crossed. Still no updates as to when the ground will be ready. I do believe the weather has held off for now, though, which is good sign. So do stick with us here on PTV. We've got clear skies there at the moment, and the covers are still off, Roha. That is wonderful, wonderful sign. So keep praying, keep watching here across the screens of PTV Sports, and the second that game gets underway, of course, we will bring you all of the live action. But, you know, before we finish our show here today, though, Roha, I think it's time we get to our quiz section, because we love prizes here.
We have some more to give away once again.
We do.
Thanks to our wonderful sponsors, never running out of prizes to give.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cheesiest will have to restock with the amount of cheesiest we've been eating in our green room at the moment. But we'd love to give you the opportunity to get the best cricket snack going around, which is, of course, a Cheesiest family meal, thanks to our friends at Cheesiest. And the question that you need to answer today is simply this. Who scored the fastest century in the T20 World Cup history? All you have to do is give the right answer to that number on your screen, and you could be tucking in to the most delicious pizza going around in Pakistan, Roha.
Not only that, thanks to Blue World City, एक बहुत बड़े स्केल का प्राइज आप जीत सकते हैं, एक प्लॉट इन ब्लू वर्ल्ड सिटी शोएब अख्तर एनक्लेव में। अगर आपको इस सवाल का जवाब आता है, सवाल बहुत आसान है। If you've been following our show, which country is Evan Holland from? I wonder, since we've talked about it so much in today's episode itself.
G'day, mate.
अगर आपने आज का एपिसोड देखा है, बहुत हिंट दे रही है एरन आपको with her accent, but if you can catch that, and if you know, if you've been an Erin fan, who isn't an Erin fan by the way in Pakistan, so you must know where she's from. अगर आपको जवाब आता है, Blue World City के Facebook page पे जाएं, and you might be able to win a plot.
What an absolute banger of a prize that is. Absolutely love it. But of course, as with every show, we want to announce our winner for our Parkview Winner Mobile Daily question, which was for yesterday. It's my absolute pleasure to announce the winner is Amal Fatima. Congratulations. Woo! You have won yourself that mobile phone. Wonderful prize there. Who doesn't want a brand spanking new mobile phone?
Congratulations, Amal Fatima, and thank you so much once again for engaging with our show.
But we'd like to give you the chance to win another one. So here's the question for today's Parkview Winner Mobile Daily. And that question is, who was the batting coach of the Pakistan team during the ICC T20 World Cup in 2021? All right, that was a COVID year. Remember, that was contested in the UAE. Who was the batting coach of the Pakistan team? A little bit harder. There's a lot of wonderful coaches in and around the Pakistan team, but if you answered that one correctly by jumping on the official Facebook page of Parkview City Islamabad and Parkview City Lahore, you could win.
It's time now for our J. Junaid Jamshed perfume question for the day. एक और मौका आपके पास जीतने का, ये J. Junaid Jamshed perfume. सवाल बड़ा आसान है. Which team has scored the highest total in T20 World Cup history? If you know the answer to that, you should know the answer to that. I mean, T20 World Cup history हमने कितनी बात की है इस शो में. फोन नंबर आपकी स्क्रीन पे है, प्लीज यहाँ पे कॉल करें इस नंबर पे, and you will be able to win a J. perfume. कौन सा होगा ये हम नहीं बता सकते, क्योंकि ये हमें भी नहीं पता होता. कभी हम वैरायटी आपके लिए लेके आ रहे हैं, बट अगर आपको आंसर पता है, प्लीज कॉल करें and let us know.
Very, very, very exciting. And the latest update is that the ground is looking in good condition from afar. Our sources on the ground say they're very hopeful that they will get a game. As it stands at the moment, though, we still don't know when the toss will be, but rest assured, the second that we get any news and, of course, live action, we'll be bringing it to you on across the screens of PTV Sports. That's all we have time for today on Vantage Developers Presents Game on Hair. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Some really wonderful insight about where this World Cup is headed, places, where Pakistan need to improve, and, what USA has been doing so well, Roha. A lot of food for thought, I think, but of course we so hope that we get a game today and that tomorrow's match, Pakistan's last match, means something in the context of the Super 8s.
Erin, let's go back to praying in the break.
I'm praying, absolutely. It's going to be a wonderful day of action. It is still sunny skies, so keep those fingers crossed. That's all from us for now, though. We'll see you for live action and, of course, the post-match at the end of today's play. Thank you so much for your time.